Welcome everyone, this is Andy 79Z28. Today we're going to show you how I cut my 223 brass down to 300 blackout. Alright, to start off with, all my brass, I went through a lot of my brass and pulled out only LC head stamps. This is not made by Harbor Freight, but it's the same type of saw. My block that I'm using here to help me cut the proper length to convert the 223 down to 300 blackout is made by ZepPreloading.com. What I like about this one is it has a detent ball in that actually goes into the rim of the case and locks it in place. Right, so you feed one in. There's one in there already, and it locks in. This is locked in. Right now, I don't know if you're going to be able to hear me talk over the saw or not. We'll find out. Okay, so I use tweezers. I kind of like just put them in the opening of the brass, and nice and easy, and cut the brass. You push this, and the other piece of brass will pop out, and that sits in the box. Okay. So again, we do the same thing. We take another piece of brass, just push, whoops, push too hard. Only on video. Turn it on. I leave the saw running normally, but I'm turning it on and off so we don't have to deal with the noise. Again, I'm just using a pair of tweezers that are angled, and I'm grabbing just inside. I'm not actually grabbing it, I'm just kind of holding it in the hole. And as it cuts, it kind of pushes that piece of brass onto the thing as it comes off. So that's how I basically chop it. Again, you push it, out it comes, kick it to the back. Now, I can't really show you this. I have to move the whole camera. I don't know if you can see where my tweezer is touching here. That's a little screw. And what this screw is doing, this is that safety lever that a lot of people just break off. Well, if you break it off, you can't send the saw back under warranty if it whatever it is, 3 months, 6 months, whatever. Anyway, what I did is there's a little piece of in here. It's the button that you're supposed to push down with your finger to push that back. Well, I found a little, I don't know, maybe it's a, I don't think it's a 6, it's a number 8 screw. So I pushed that down and I screwed the screw in, and it prevents that button from popping up, and it keeps it pushed down, so I don't have to do it, push the button every time instead of breaking it off. So that's one tip. The other tip I have is everybody takes showers, I hope, and sorry, computer's doing things. And when you get to that end of that bar of soap, you kind of like throw it in the garbage. Well, I don't throw them all in the garbage. I've kept a few around because I use them for other things, like if you're working on wood and you're putting a screw in. If you rub the threads on here, it acts like a wax, a lube, and it helps the screw go in easier. Well, I'm going to start the blade, so you may not hear me, okay? And I'm just going to kind of touch the blade as it spins just a little bit to get some of that soap on there to lubricate the blade, okay? You could probably use a candle as well, but I think the candle, the wax will get hot and melt, so I'm choosing to use this. So just turn it on. Just touch it a little bit like that. Just touch it a little bit like that. And that lubricates the blade. I'm in about 2,000 pieces of brass that I've done so far. And I have maybe another 300 or 400 to go. So I have about 2,600 pieces cut with the same blade. And you watch how I don't chop it down. Okay, this is not made to chop like that. Okay, I see, watch people's videos, and they push it down hard to cut the brass off. It's going to dull your blade faster, and it makes for a lot more deburring to do. So again, putting my tweezer in, and turn it on. So nice and easy. And you can hear the saw does not struggle to cut. It doesn't slow down. If you push it hard and fast, like I see everyone else doing in the video, it will definitely dull a blade sooner, and your cuts aren't as clean, etc. Okay, so to me, when I'm doing something, whether I'm prepping my brass, or I'm loading bullets, or what I'm doing here, converting 223 brass to 300 blackout, and I'm kind of new to this 300 blackout thing, so I have a bolt action rifle, and I also have a AR with a 16-inch barrel, and I'm working up loads for both of them. And anyway, so I'm fairly new at it. I've only probably shot 50 rounds so far testing, but I haven't had any problems with bullets not chambering and stuff like that. Everything is good. I'm also shooting zinc bullets. It's the Lyman 311 332. It's a 180 grain, kind of a pointed bullet, gas check, but I don't care about gas check with zinc. And it comes out about 115 grains in zinc. And so far, my super reduced loads, I'm in that area of 7 grains of powder, as finding where the first accuracy node, and that's in my bolt action. And so now I'm going to load a ladder from like 6.6 to like 7.5 and 0.1 grain intervals and find the real where the grooves tighten up. And that'll be my load for that. For my AR, I'm using H110. I had tried a different powder, Shooter's World Tactical Rifle, which I use in my 223, but it's too slow of a powder for the 300 blackout. So what was happening to me is I first round would chamber and it would fire. I'd have to manually activate the bolt because there wasn't enough powder. I was trying to work up the load. But by the third or fourth loading, the bullets wouldn't seat in the chamber anymore. And first I thought it was an overall length problem, but it really wasn't, because when I came home the second time trying this, I discovered there was a ton of unburnt powder in the chamber. So the chamber was getting in the grooves and lands, and therefore, of course, it wouldn't allow the bullet to seat properly, so therefore the AR wasn't going into battery. So now I'm going to work up only a few loads with H110. Again, not trying to have a hot load, just trying to have something comfortable to shoot that works the action in the AR, and we'll go from there. But this was just my little tip I wanted to show you on how I cut this. The Zepri loading block is, cutting block, I think it's around $30. There are a lot of other ones where you have to hold the brass and just push it over to a certain spot, etc. I'm telling you, I set this thing up. I gave it a shot using a line on the base of the saw here, and put it there and cut my first piece of brass, measured it, and I said that looks good. So I did 2 or 3, and then I actually went to convert them down. So using Lee dies, I did the 3 rounds, checked the overall length after sizing them and forming and sizing, and they were coming out at 1371 or so. So that's pretty good, because considering I want to do my trim to at 1.360. Okay, I always like to trim my brass long. If you cut it shorter and you shoot, you may not have to trim your brass after you resize the next couple of times, but it keeps growing on you, so you don't have the consistency. So I prefer to have the same consistency to every round. So I load them, trim them to 1.360, and is that the number? No, now it got me confused. Anyway, I'm trimming them to that same length all the time. And I shoot them. They might grow a little bit. They may not, but they're not going to be short on me. That's the whole thing. And so it's just the way I do it. Everybody has their own. Okay, one last shot at this. All right, I do about 8 pieces of brass or so, and then I'll put some more soap on it. And the blades lasted me forever. It's really nice, clean. I mean, this is, I don't know if I can get this in here. You can see how clean this is cutting, okay? And like I said, there's probably better than, definitely better than 2,000 rounds cut through here. And the burr is very minimal. So just my little neck of the woods here, giving out a tip. Hopefully it helps somebody. If you want to check it out, try it. Other than that, that's about it for this one. It's a short video. This is Andy, 79Z28. Wishing you all a great day.